When you're camping somewhere in Australia or anywhere else in the world, I think I don't need to tell you how important it is to have access to drinking water virtually anywhere. You may not have access to bottled water. You may be somewhere away from civilization more or less for quite some time. And in that particular case, supply of that fresh drinking water is, well, vital really for your existence. So today we are reviewing a wonderful, wonderful product by company. I struggle with the pronunciation of the name, but it's called ITEHIL. That's what I'm going to go with. And their water filter, drinking water filter. It's a portable device that I'm going to tell you about a lot today, show it to you in action, both in the test runs at home and outside, just right here. In fact, it's right there next to me. Take a look at it. Yeah. So we're going to talk about this. This is going to be a long video to kind of give it justice. It's going to be unboxing. It's going to tell you how to install the filters. It's going to tell you how to run the test runs, how to test the water and everything else. So if you are a little bit attention starved and a kind of attention span is not your strong suit, I don't judge, but I have created the chapters for you in the description of the video and in the timeline. So use them if you think that I'm ranting. But I think you need to see how this thing works properly in order not to break it, essentially, in order to make sure that you're using it properly. Well, let's talk about it. ITEHIL's reverse osmosis water purifier is one of those products that you would never think of first and foremost as something that you need as a car camper. But as you get introduced to something like this, you seriously cannot imagine doing a serious big lap around Australia, for example, with off-grid camping in remote areas without a device like this on board. Let's start unboxing it. This water purifier is very nicely packaged, very well documented, and produces overall a very solid impression from get-go. Everything. Packaging, the build, everything. In the box, there is the water filter itself, which is relatively heavy but can be lifted with one hand and perfectly fits into a standard Woolworths shopping bag, reusable one, not the paper one, obviously. You know what I'm talking about if you are in Australia. There is a socket for water inlet pipe and two water output pipes, a white one for the drinking water and the blue one for the household water that's supposed to be good enough to wash the dishes with and use for similar needs, but not to drink, obviously. There are also two filters included, RO, the reverse osmosis one, and a hybrid one. A reverse osmosis filter contains a reverse osmosis membrane. It efficiently removes contaminants such as fluoride, limescale, heavy metals up to the standard of drinking water. And hybrid filter, it filters out water sediment, rust, suspended water matter and other large particles and filters of organic matter. Yeah, residual chlorine, and generally it also apparently is supposed to improve the taste of the water by removing additional odors. So the useful life of a hybrid filter is stated at 350 gallons of water or 1,324 liters of water, and the RO filter, the reverse osmosis membrane, is useful life for 650 gallons or 2,460 liters of water. So quite a lot of use you can get out of just these couple of filters. There is also a USB-C charging cord without a wall socket adapter plug supplied, and a waterproof carry bag for accessories. The manual is succinct and nicely written. It is not like reading one of those barely readable manuals for some other China-manufactured products that I have reviewed in the recent past, where those must have been put through a Google Translate from Chinese into English and printed straight away. Here it looks like a human wrote it with some thinking behind it, everything is clear, and it is honestly a big thing, especially when dealing with a relatively unknown product like this, well, at least to majority of users. There is no water quality or TDS tester included in the package. It's very important to point out. So you will need to buy one separately. And there are plenty of relatively cheap options on Amazon and eBay. Honestly, there are so many, you can choose whatever you like. What's the best way to check if the water coming out of this purifier is drinkable then? Well, very simple. The dumb and simple way is to first pour yourself a glass of drinking water from a source that you trust, such as a water tap at home if you're in Australia. Then you measure the TDS numbers that are coming out on your device, whatever TDS device you got. Maybe you have a slightly different one, so numbers might be slightly different. Yeah, so you look at those numbers And then guess what? You do the same thing once you have an output from your filter. I'll describe to you how to do it in a minute. And if the numbers that you get from both sources are close enough, you should be okay to drink it. For more scientific and precise water quality measurement grades, etc., please refer to some kind of dedicated TDS guides. There are plenty of online, and here on YouTube. I just don't want to waste your time here. Now, how to get this filter and the whole purifier, but both filters, into working condition? Well, first of all, I do recommend that you read the manual. I know you're watching this video because you don't want to read anything, and I'm about to give you a quick rundown, but generally I do recommend reading it anyway. And as I simply will not mention every single little detail here, and the manual is brief enough and written well enough for you to go through in very few short minutes. You will need to open the lid at the top of the water purifier and install the filters first. They are very well documented and labeled on the device itself, so you really cannot get confused unless you're really not paying any attention. Well, guess what? You should. Key pointers are here that each filter you are inserting one at a time into the right marked hole on the body of the water purifier. Obviously, you plug it into the socket, you turn it clockwise, following the arrows while gently but firmly pressing down. Make sure that there is an effect of tight screwing in of the filter. It has to go in as opposed to sort of just kind of stick out a little bit. It's supposed to sink into the socket nicely and firmly without, like, you're applying quite a bit of pressure while turning it and pushing it down, as it's shown in this video fragment. Once both filters are in, you start charging the device by connecting the enclosed USB-C port to a power source. I've tested two ways of connecting to a portable power bank, which works perfectly fine. The device charges fine, and then presumably on full charge it can work by itself without any power connected. Or you might do just a standard kind of way of connecting to a wall socket, as long as you have a wall socket adapter. I have one, I tested both ways, it works. Then you connect the pipes. The inlet pipe screws in quite nicely, and you absolutely have to have that pipe connected and in the water before you turn the device on. I could not stress this enough, because if you turn it on just sucking in air without any inlet water pipe connected, I don't know what is going to happen, but I'm not responsible for you damaging the product, and neither is the company. Then you are plugging in the outlet pipes as well. Yes, so you're connecting the pipe, the white one that is going to give you the drinking water, and the blue one that is going to give you just household water. I've done my best to connect them nicely, those output pipes, but somehow they were still leaking water throughout the device's operation, which you can see clearly in the video. And it could be just in terms of how it's constructed, maybe not very tightly, I suppose, or maybe I have not connected something properly. I'm not quite sure here. I obviously tried, and obviously the better connection of those pipes to the device, the less you will lose of that purified water, the less of it will leak. The enclosed device instructions tell you how to do the initial water purification cycle run for the first 35 minutes when you have just replaced the filters, which makes sense, as you want the purifier to wash out any residue and whatever else it is there in a brand new just opened filter before you try and drink that water. Which is why, for both the longer initial test cycle and the charging purposes, I have personally done this test cycle and the charging cycle at home before heading out to a sample camping spot that I will show to you in a minute. You can see here that the water, even at first, comes out very cloudy at first, especially out of the blue pipe, where it flushes out the filter and prepares for proper operation. So if you choose to do it the same way I did, just let it run there for 30-35 minutes as instructed before taking it into the field, and certainly before trying to properly test and drink that water. Speaking of taking it out into the field, I took Purifier to an improvised test camping location. I don't camp there, it's not very far from my place where I live, but it is definitely, well, wilderness, more or less, by the side of a local river. The main thing to point out here and to set your expectations on is that when the device starts filtering and obviously more polluted and unrefined water from the river, it needs to work harder and longer to get you those precious drops of drinking water. So from my test, it looked to me like the water was flowing a lot more rapidly and a lot more nicely when I tested it at home from already filtered water source, technically speaking. And on the river side, it kind of really slowed down dramatically, and you can see quite a nice flow of water through the blue pipe. But the white pipe that we're interested in, the one that is producing the actual drinking water, the drips were coming much slower. So by my rough calculations, it probably would have taken me, if I sat there, it would have taken me maybe around 20-25 minutes to fill out a regularly sized drinking water bottle, the one that I'm showing to you here on the screen, which I did not sit all the way through, but I wanted to test the process, which I did, and I think I got my point across to you as well. The purifier clearly pumps out, once again, a lot more water through the blue pipe, because it doesn't need to work as hard to filter it as much, okay? Yet again, maybe part of this slower output is partially attributed to clearly leaking seam between how I've managed to connect the white pipe to the purifier. I'm not sure how could I have done it better, because I definitely tried, but this is the best I could do. Anyway, it's livable. It's not a showstopper, I don't think, as long as you give yourself enough time for this process to continue and to fill the water bottles fully in your travels when you need to do it. So it will take you a little bit of time. It's not a tap. It's not a tap. Don't expect that, and you will not be disappointed. And this is all there is to say, really, my friends. ITEHIL Reverse Osmosis Water Purifier is in action. You can see it. It works very fine. It's a wonderful device. It's something that, I don't know, and not discerning kind of user of these devices looks at this and thinks this is something from the future that I can take to the side of some kind of swamp, I'm exaggerating here, and have drinking water in the matter of, well, maybe half an hour, maybe an hour, but still, when you are in need of fresh water, I reckon you'll take that half an hour to an hour, and you will be very happy that you have such a device with you. If and when I decide to go off-grid for a week or longer, I don't know, taking big lap around Australia, where the closest town will be 2-3 hours of drive away, and if I plan to properly camp in a remote location, I think that having access to a device like this, obviously you will need some kind of charging devices, solar panels, some kind of power adapter, which I hope to review in some closest future, some kind of other kind of power providing facilities. I think that this type of device next to some dirty creek or a duck pond is an absolute freaking lifesaver. But you let me know what you think. Were you impressed by this product? Have you used similar products in the past? Have I done everything right? In case you are someone who is using ITEHIL Reverse Osmosis Filter already, maybe I have not done something right. That's why I didn't get as much output. I don't know. I'm not pretending to be a specialist. But the best thing about, hopefully, that you also see about this kind of review is that even a non-specialist who spent a little bit of time of reading the manual and trying to set it up properly can get very good results out of it. Please do like the video before you drop out so that YouTube can show it to more people and bring more people to our little product reviewing club over here. And I wish you a nice day wherever you are, and goodbye for now. I'll talk to you next week.